Tasks are something you can also put into Outlook. They're not like an appointment which occurs on a certain date at a certain time. They're just things that you've got to do, certain tasks you've got to do. So you don't really want to put them in your calendar, so you have a task folder. On the left-hand side in your folders pane, you will see tasks, or you could choose tasks here in your navigation options. Or you may have the task showing in your to-do bar. If you see the task showing your to-do bar, you could double click where it says type a new task, and that would let you create a new task. Or you could go to the task folder and choose the button new task. Now perhaps I've got to write some material, and I want to start next Monday. It's not started yet, so the status is not started, and I want to have it completed by the end of the month. And the priority is high. So here's a task that I've got to do. When I go save and close, it will automatically appear in my task pad. That's if I've got my task pad showing. Let's do this. I'm going to go to folders. That brings up my folders pane. I'm going to go to tasks, so I'm sitting in my tasks folder. But then on my to-do bar, if I've got the tasks portion of my to-do bar showing, then it will appear in my tasks in my to-do bar. Now don't worry that write material appears twice. That's unfortunately just my machine and this video. So it's really just there once. Okay, so to create a new task, you can just hit the new task button, or I might make another one. I'll double click here to create a new task. It might be to send out report. And again, I need to do this maybe on a Tuesday. And I haven't started, it's not a high priority, and I'll just save and close. So now I've got two tasks showing, send out report and write material. Now, if the material, writing the material is private and I'm sharing my task folder with people, when I create this particular task, I have the option of choosing private, which means that they won't be able to see the details about that task. So if you have anything that's private and other people can get access to your mailbox, you may want to mark that as private, and you can do so quite easily. Now the whole idea here is if I double click and open up a task, I can easily say at any point in time that it's now in progress, and I can also go to details at the top here. If I go to details, I can actually say how much work I've spent on it, any mileage details, any billing information, and I can add extra details to this task. And I can flick back to task here as well and save and close. Now when this task is actually complete, I can right click it and I can mark it complete. I very rarely delete a task. I tend to mark them as complete, and therefore it appears still in my task folder but is struck through because it's been completed. And if I double click it, I can actually see that by me marking it as complete, the status has automatically been changed to completed, and under details it'll have a record of the date that I said it was completed. And I can go save and close. So once I'm completed a task, I just right click and mark it as complete. If I want to make it incomplete, I'll double click it and I'll change the status back to in progress, save and close, and I can continue to work on it. The other thing that you can do is you can actually delegate a task to others. So I might decide that I actually would like somebody else to write the material. I'll double click this task and I'll assign this task to somebody else. I might assign it, for example, to a particular person, and then I would hit send. When I assign it to this person and hit send, it will keep a copy of the task in my task list, but I will no longer be able to change the status or any of the details regarding the task, because a task can only ever have one owner. So as soon as I assign this task by hitting send and they accept it, a copy of that task will remain in my task list, but they will then become the task owner and that task will be in their task list. Even if they then delegate that onto somebody else, there will still only be one owner, the final person who accepted the job, Everybody else in that chain will have a copy of that task in their task list. And when the owner at the end of that chain maybe changes the status to complete or in progress, it will update that task in every other person's task folder. It will send me a report when the task is complete, and it will keep my copy of the task in my task folder up to date. So delegating is really, really good. You can delegate tasks. Certain tasks are recurring. For example, sending out the report might be something that I do every Tuesday. So I'm going to double click and open up this particular task, and I'm going to go for the recurrence button. When I go for the recurrence button, I can say that this occurs every Tuesday with no end date. And so when I go OK, it will actually be a recurring task, and I can save and close. If I need to delete a task at any stage, it's simply a matter of clicking on the task and hitting the delete key, and I can delete that task. Or you could right click and delete the task. When you're viewing your tasks, there's a variety of ways that you can view your tasks, and here we have a simple list. Here we have a completed list. And here we have today's list. So in active tasks. So there's a variety of ways that you can view your tasks, and I'll go back to detailed. You can also sort your tasks simply by clicking the column heading subject. We'll sort them in ascending or descending order, or status in ascending or descending grouped order, and also by due date, just by clicking the column headings. So if you need to keep a track of things that you need to do, put it in your tasks. If then you happen to be in your calendar and you can see that you've got a little bit of time free, you may want to, from your to-do bar, grab a task and add it to your calendar and put some time aside to actually work on that task. You don't lose the task from your to-do bar, from your task list, because just because you're spending a little bit of time on it doesn't mean it's completed. This particular task was private, and that's why the padlock shows. If you find that you can't do any work towards it, simply delete it from your calendar. And I'll close the to-do bar.